Honored guests, after 3 days of some of the most important discussions regarding the Indo-Pacific, we have finally arrived at the end. This year's Bay of Bengal Conversation, in all rigors, feels like a responding success. When we started this project last year, many people doubted us. Many didn't believe that our small independent think tank could pull this event off just once, let alone make it an annual concurrence. Now, standing at the closing speech of the second Bay of Bengal Conversation, we feel victorious. I would like to thank each and every one of you, especially our honored speakers and moderators who traveled all across the world to join us here the last 3 days. The knowledge, insight, and perspective you bring with you truly make our conclave a true collage of international ideas and opinions. The panels we designed this year were about very difficult topics and often very sensitive in subject matter. But even among differing opinions, we have maintained conversation. And therefore, the door is still open for peaceful resolutions rather than festering differences and unending conflict. In that regard, I would like to give a special thanks to the moderators who had the daunting and difficult task of structuring such enormous discussions from so many varied individuals and in so many varied fields of knowledge into such a concise format. This year, the Bay of Bengal Conversation has seen some landmark successes. Even though many ministers of the government of Bangladesh were invited to speak at last year's conference, none of them took to the podium and addressed the crowd. However, this year, for the first time, we had the Honorable Planning Minister of Bangladesh give his remarks and declared that they are, in fact, listening to us. Regardless of what might be the consequences of that, I believe that bringing the government side into our discussion is a massive breakthrough from our end. As I think of all the important boundaries we have crossed, all the voices we have enabled, and all the conversations we have conveyed, the question that lingers in my mind is, was it worth it? Is there value in this? Is there value in conversation? However, every time I think about this, I always come back to one single conclusion. This is track to diplomacy. Over the long term, and especially in recent times, track to diplomacy has become an integral part of any peace-building process. While you need to build things at the top level, you also need to build the relationship within the society. And right now, our society is afraid. Our society sees what is happening in Ukraine. Our society sees what is happening in Palestine. Our society sees what is happening in the South China Sea. And our society grows more and more afraid. The theory of international organization and politics and the theory of functionalism say that we must get people together to do specific problem-solving oriented things in order to overcome some of the bounds of stereotypes across national boundaries. Therefore, when I see all of you across the crowd, so many faces from so many places, I must conclude that our little project has value. Of course, we understand that track 2 diplomacy is not a substitute for track 1 diplomacy, but it compensates for the constraints imposed on leaders by their people's psychological expectations. Most important, track 2 diplomacy is intended to provide a bridge or complement official track 1 negotiations. And with that hope, I would like to bring this year's conversation to a close. I would also like to take the opportunity to announce next year's Bay of Bengal Conversation, which we will be holding from November 2 to November 4, 2024. We will also hold an exciting new event called the Global Directions Conclave, which will be an intensive 10-day policy workshop organized by the Center for Governance Studies. Each year, the conclave will bring together 50 outstanding young leaders between 25 and 35 years of age from diverse backgrounds, geographies, and sectors. The young leaders will be nominated by heads of government, leaders of the private sector, and global experts. The first edition of the Global Directions Conclave is scheduled to be held from March 1 to 10, 2024 in Dhaka and Cox's Bazar, Bangladesh. Thank you. We are also in the works of designing a new forum for young diplomats, which will be a week-long workshop where new and young diplomats from various embassies in Bangladesh will be hosted to share ideas about diplomacy as well as discuss and learn more about the political realities of the region. Young Diplomats Forum is scheduled to be held from July 25 to 31st, 2024 in Dhaka and Sylhet. So once again, I want to thank all our honorable speakers and our moderators and distinguished guests. I also want to thank the Pan-Pacific Sonargan and its world-class staff for being with us year after year. And I want to thank especially all the bright young people who showed such great interest in attending this year's Bay of Bengal Conversation. We could only accommodate a fraction of you, but stay with us on our social media to see all the conversations that took place these last 3 days. I also want to thank all our partners, USAID, UKAID, UNDP, the Asia Foundation, the Australian High Commission, and the Embassy of Germany, as well as all our sponsors, Max Group, the chairman is here. Thank you. Cambian Group, and other sponsors who have stayed with us through thick and thin. I want to thank my family. My wife, Hamida, is here. My children, Azman and Niza, is here. And my mother, who has supported me so much during these turbulent times. And also to my chairman, Dr. Manjur Ahmed Chaudhary. And last but not least, I want to thank my team BOBC, all of my bright and talented colleagues at CGS, who spent many sleepless nights organizing these events, who has given me such extraordinary service and managed to create a conference of this scale with such little resources and numbers. Our small team moves mountains without asking questions. Before we close, I want to invite Team BOBC to the stage for a group photo. Dr. Manjur Ahmed Chaudhary, please. Abu Al Said, Ong Cha Ching Marma, Apun Johir, Arman Mia, Bahauddin Mia, Ahmed, Devi Karmukar. She is not here, she is sick, but she spent a lot of, I think many of you know her by this time. Dipanjali Rai, Famida Haq, Julian Ancon Rosario, Kaji Ishrat Jahan, she is not here, Kaji Shams Mohsin Reed, Marjana Manaz, Mohammad Nihad Nausher, Zillur Rahman, Pradeep Kumar Shil, Roman Uddin, Sadia Tasneem, Sanjoy Devnath, Sravani Akhtar, Surat Rana Rushmi, Shubir Das. Without him, it could be impossible for us to hold this event. Shubir Das, please. Sanjoy Devnath, And the coordinator for this event, Sain Shukyo. Thank you all. Please join me to thank this young and talented team with applause, please.